Welcome back in conversation with Dr. Sangeet Ibrahim on the topic, should we ban social media from our children's lives? Doctor, the next question, that was about attention span and academic performance. What are the ill effects on the emotional well-being of a child?
Oh, now this would require at least 3 or 4 episodes to talk about.
I understand.
What we should realize is the human body or the human brain does things primarily to become happy. Okay, so when you're asked to do something, for example, do a strenuous workout, the first question the brain will ask itself is, will this make me happy? Yeah, so your prime objective is to have happy hormones in your brain, okay, hormones like oxytocin in your brain. So some people do right things to become happy. For example, they set goals, they work hard, they achieve things. Some people do wrong things to become happy. Like, you know, they get into drugs and they get into alcohol and they get into crime, negative achievements and all that. So we need to ask ourselves, what we're doing, is it the right thing? We should not just choose to do it just because it makes us happy. Now, a lot of people think that social media usage makes us happy. You know, I'm doing this because I can liaise with my friends, I can comment, and, you know, I can share my photographs and stuff like that. But what research has proven is something totally opposite. Okay, what they have found is people who use social media more, people who use it extensively, or average user ends up being more miserable. Okay, ends up feeling more depressed, ends up feeling more insecure, ends up feeling more stressed. Okay, we'll explore the reasons for that. But usually popular notion is, you know, you want to feel cool, you want to feel happy, you know, log in. Okay, but the more you use it, the more depressed you will be. Now, if you ask me, how do you know that? Well, now scientists can measure. Scientists can measure the level of oxytocin that is there in the body, and they find that the more you use it, you end up feeling more miserable. Now, this can create a lot of problems. People who have, especially youngsters who have committed suicide, youngsters who have had a lot of behavioral problems, you can see a consistent pattern that they've always been extensive users of social media.
Well, psychologists say that, as you said, the more you use Facebook, particularly Facebook, the more miserable your life becomes. The more you use it, the more gloomier you become. And the American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP, they have termed this as Facebook depression among teenagers, to be more precise. Now, the reasons are very obvious, because you get negative comments about your posts. Then your post might not garner the required number of likes and shares. Then again, you are constantly comparing your life and yourself with that of your peers, and probably what a person is doing is he's comparing his lowest moments with the highest moments of his friend's life. So all these psychologists say takes a severe blow on the self-esteem of a child, and that's why you can understand the gravity of the problem, and that is why they've come up with a definite term for it called Facebook depression.
Oops, so the more you use Facebook, guilty as charged. I use Facebook extensively, but I've got a strategy, I've got a plan, and I do it to achieve I use it to achieve my goals. But what studies say is that you use it extensively, you could end up being depressed.
Yes.
Which is Facebook
Especially
depression, as they call
teenagers.
it. Yeah. It's a disease. Well, I think I can understand the reasons for it, you know. There's something called FOMO, F-O-M-O, particularly among youngsters. It's the fear of missing out. Okay?
Being missed out.
Being in the sense, you know, for example, let's say you go out, you're having a party, and all your friends are enjoying. They're cracking jokes at each other. And suppose you're feeling secluded, or maybe people want to go out and they don't invite you, or you're sitting in people are speaking across you, not involving you in the conversation. You really feel bad, right? Now, but this does not happen quite often in the real world. But on the social network domain, it happens extensively. You know, just imagine you're in a WhatsApp group and you post a photograph, and no one even puts those fancy thumbs up icons.
They look through you, through your
exactly,
posts,
and then someone else puts a picture, and the whole world is over there, you know, appreciating them. So you naturally feel really bad.
It's more about reciprocity, because you like and comment about somebody's post, everyone comments.
Yeah, what's Sunaina saying? You scratch my back and I scratch yours.
Exactly, that's what's happening.
But unfortunately, kids don't see that as a cause and effect thing. You know,
right.
What they feel is, oh my God, they're neglecting me, and this can create severe problems. And one thing I particularly liked about what you said is, suppose you go for a holiday, your car tire must have gone burst, or you would have fought with your wife on the way, or maybe the hotel the check-in process was long, but you don't take any pictures of that.
True.
You just stand and you face
the best.
Exactly, the most glorious sunset, and you take a picture. You don't cover any of the negative aspects. So what especially youth tend to believe is that for someone else life is just a bed of roses. They don't realize that life could be a series of ups and downs, and you need to take all of them in the stride. But yes, this can create serious problems. And psychologically, the biggest issue is you're comparing your life with your peers. Okay. Now, I often say this: if you find Ambani's son or Adani's son, coming out of a Lamborghini, you don't feel bad, because you don't connect yourself with people like those. Corporate honchos and business gurus and stuff like that. But you always compare yourself with your classmates, with your peers, people who have had the same background. And then you suddenly see this guy standing in an exotic location, half the world away from you, fancy car, and getting awards and recognitions and stuff like that. And you feel, oh my God, you're burning inside, because you don't see the other side of the picture at all. And that can definitely lead to depression. So you need to monitor the feelings of your child. It has led to so many issues, including suicide, where people really feel bad. Girls are really vulnerable to this. We call it body shaming. You could have a girl put a picture on the internet and someone passes a comment saying...
What is that term you said?
It's body shaming, where you say, hey, you fatso. Or especially we Indians have this fixation towards fair skin. So somebody says, oh, you darky. And people really take it personally, and it can take,
especially since it's on a social platform.
True. It's not within a very limited group. The whole world is out there to see it, and you feel these comments are cannot be taken away, cannot be undone. Especially in WhatsApp, you make a comment, you can't take it back. Look at the kind of implications that it has. So yes, Facebook depression is one thing. I would particularly want to talk about a couple of other things as well, Sunaina. The first thing that I want to talk about is the obsession with your own self. Okay. Now, what we psychologists say is, suppose you've gone to a friend's house and you find the child jumping up and down on the sofa, or spilling tea or coffee and screaming, making loud noises. We say that this child wants to get what? What do we usually say? Exactly. We say, oh, he's striving for attention. Nobody is attending to him, and he's forcing others to look at him. Sometimes, throwing the glass tumbler off the table as well. Now, for attention getters, social media is a haven. It's a wonderful platform. So what do people do? Sometimes, they put negative comments. They talk bad things about teachers, about friends, about the country, about politicians, just to get attention. Okay, and then you have 10, 15, 20 people sharing and making comments on the post, and you get that dose of attention and you feel good. But kids sometimes realize that they're doing irreparable damage to their brand image and to the way people perceive them. So this is a huge problem. For attention getters, social media is a perfect getaway. So parents will have to really monitor what your children are doing. Are they making any comments that can come back to haunt them later in life? Yeah, and of course any discussion on social media is incomplete without talking about the selfie mania. So psychologists now consider taking too many selfies, not one or two. All of us are guilty of that.
Too many as in a day?
You see people who, they change their profile pictures almost on a daily basis. Have you seen that?
Yes.
No offense to our friends who do that, but we're not talking about you. But what psychologists have confirmed is that it could be a psychological disease. It's part of attention getting. So you make weird poses and you put your pictures online. Now this can lead to a bigger psychological problem called narcissism. Okay. Now,
Right.
Now suppose I'm talking to you, right? So you're talking and I'm talking, so it's a conversation. You get your space, I get mine. But on social media, you have a page. It's usually one, two, many. Yeah. So your child might have taken some very obscure photographs, but you open a page for him, or somebody is writing some very nondescript amateur poems, and you open a blog for him. So childs tend to believe that the whole world revolves around them. Yeah. So this can really lead to a reduction in empathy. Now, that empathy is where you start feeling for the other person.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, having an active presence on social media, you tend to believe it's all about I, me, myself.
I, me, myself, yeah.
And you feel bad. Oh, this guy did not like my picture. I'm not going to befriend him again. Why did he only like it? He should have shared my picture. And and it can create a lot of issues as well. I find people saying, that person should have shared my picture because I've always shared the person's picture. So these kind of very immature expectations from people.
You don't like something because you like it. You're forced to like it. Click like.
True, exactly. Just because that person had clicked like for you
Yeah.
before. So these kind of social contracts are not very healthy. I've heard that Facebook has now come with the unlike button. I haven't seen it yet on the screen, but they're saying it's that can create a whole string of
strained relationships,
different problems as well. So attention getting is a serious issue. That's one. I would also like to talk particularly about bullying. Okay. Now, dear parents, cyberbullying in particular. Now, I'm reminded of my hostel days, where what happens is you have a pet hate. You don't like this child. So what do you do? Your friend, your peer. So what you do is everything the person says, you'll have something to contradict him. Okay, you make fun of him and you ridicule him in front of others.
That happens a lot among boys on Facebook.
Exactly.
On social media.
In the real world, it is limited, Sunan. It doesn't go beyond the room. But even in the real world, in the physical domain, it's very irritating. Anything the person says, that there's a group to contradict. Now, this happens a lot on social media. So the child puts up a nice photograph. You'll have kids, irrespective of whether that's a good picture or not, kids, making negative comments and trying to ridicule it and trying to destroy the good effort the person has done. And this affects people directly. It's a hard hit, because that's an extension of you, and your self-esteem gets badly hit.
Yeah.
So cyberbullying is a huge issue, and we need to make sure that our kids don't do that, and we need to protect our kids also from that. I don't want to elaborate on the next topic because it's controversial. Now, when we were during our Hajj pilgrimage, I happened to meet a person who is a very active stakeholder in the academic world. Okay, he's running hundreds of institutions, and he was telling us that the kind of issues that are happening among boys and girls due to social media now is really unfortunate. Because these kids are young, so somebody putting a positive comment or a like here, and they become quite vulnerable to sexual predators. Okay, our child might be coming home and very nice and quiet and the ideal child, but we parents really don't know what's happening in the virtual worlds, the kind of people that they are interacting with, the kind of things that are being said about them, the kind of relationships that they're developing. It's really, really scary. It's leading to a lot of divorces, it's leading to a lot of marital problems, it is leading to a lot of kids getting into unhealthy relationships earlier. Now there is a new concept called sexting, where previously people used to text. Now it's called sexting, where even girls and boys, they exchange explicit images and pornographic jokes and stuff like that. This is very, very common among teenagers today.
Even here, or you're speaking about the West?
Across the world, yeah. Because we often do not, pick the phone up and see what our children are commenting, and it's a murky, dark world that they get into because the access is there, and they're teenagers. The brains are being rewired. And they're fed by huge doses of emotion, so they really do not know what is right or wrong for them. So they coolly fall predators for this. Sunana, I would like to talk about other issues, but I think it's time for us to take another short break. Okay, we'll take a short break and we'll continue our interesting conversation on the bad effects, only the bad effects of social media. Time for a short break.
ആയുർവേദം, യോഗ, അക്യുപങ്ചർ, നാച്ചുറോപ്പതി ചികിത്സകൾ ഒരേ കുടക്കീഴിൽ. ഓറ ഓൾട്ടർനേറ്റീവ് മെഡിസിൻ സെന്റർ. ചീഫ് കൺസൾട്ടന്റ് ഡോക്ടർ ദിനേശ് കർത്തയുടെ നേതൃത്വത്തിൽ പരിചയസമ്പന്നരായ ഡോക്ടർമാരുടെ സേവനം. ബുക്കിംഗിനായി കിങ് ഫൈസൽ റോഡ്, ഷാർജ 065757001. Kalba Road, National Paints 065626487. Hilton Road, Alain 0376653314. Mobile 05021747112. www.ayuryogasharjah.com.
Watch My Teacher live at 5 p.m. only on NTV.
Variety collections of gold, diamond, platinum, precious stones, pearls and branded watches. Exclusive Belgium cut diamond jewelry. Regi Jewelry. Branches Goldland Daira Gold Souk, Dubai Festival City, New Gold Souk Center, Bardubai, Al Khalid Shopping Center, Bardubai. For more details, call 04398 5535.
Kohinoor Gems, well of natural gems. Our renowned gem consultant, R. Babu Narendra. For more details, contact 0435 84484 050 910 9360. Kohinoor Gems, Bardubai, UAE. www.babunarendra.com. Friday Movie Fest.
Brought to you by
UAE Exchange.
സത്യസന്ധമായി കമ്പയർ ചെയ്യും.
ചോദിക്കുന്നതെല്ലാം കൊടുക്കാൻ പറ്റാത്ത കാര്യങ്ങളാണ് ചോദിക്കുന്നത്.
ഇത് കുറേ പണക്കാർക്ക് വേണ്ടി ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ് എന്നാണ്.
വലിയ വിപത്താണ്.
ചെറുപ്പക്കാരെ വലിയ തോതിൽ ആകർഷിക്കാൻ കഴിയുന്നില്ല. അങ്ങനെ തിരിച്ചടി ഏറ്റിട്ടുണ്ടെന്നുള്ളൊരു യാഥാർത്ഥ്യമാണ്.
നീ എൻ്റെ ഒരു നല്ല ശിഷ്യനാണ്.
Welcome back. Doctor, that was academic performance and emotional well-being of a child. Any other areas where social media plays a really villainous role in a child's life?
I'm feeling bad, because the whole world is embracing Facebook and social media. In fact, in our country, we have an effort to go digital. The intentions are quite noble to take the power of internet and social media across the world. And we are sitting here and trying to demonize social media.
What has to be said has to be said.
Exactly. I think the key word is, of course, we are against banning social media. It's about optimizing the usage so that our kids can get the maximum out of it and minimize the hazardous effects of
Absolutely.
that. And that's the spirit in which we are speaking. Now, I think, Dr. Sunaina, your question is, you want me to elaborate on more negative effects?
Any other area which is just...
Okay. Before I get into something particular about social media, let me caution you about something which is extremely dangerous, but a lot of us are not aware of it. If we do a small survey among most of our viewers, they would all say that before going to sleep, what they would all be doing is accessing their phones.
Yes,
Yeah?
right.
Yeah, so sometimes the lights are switched off, but they lie on bed and they access their phones and then they drift off to sleep. Now, this has got huge problems for your physical self and your psychological self. Now, why for the physical self is you've got a chemical called melatonin in your body. Now, melatonin is a very special chemical. This melatonin tells your body when it is time to sleep. Okay, so when your melatonin level goes up and up and up and up, this is actually regulated with your body clock. So the kind of sunlight that you're exposed to, the kind of physical activity that you have, the kind of other stimuli that you get, the melatonin is regulated. Okay, so usually what happens is the old golden times, when the sun sets and the lights are dimmed, your melatonin automatically knows that it's time to sleep. So your melatonin goes up and you feel sleepy and you drift off. Okay, now because you're looking at backlit displays, Okay, phones and tablets and TVs to an extent are not that harmful because you view it from a distance. Now you keep looking at this, the harsh light that comes into your eyes, your melatonin gets confused, or your brain gets confused. So your melatonin level is pushed down. So you might say you're going to sleep and you're actually lying down. But what kind of a sleep is that? It is not the kind of sleep that you need after a long and arduous day. Okay, so you just sleep, it's a very casual sleep, you don't get into the sleep rhythms that are required. Now what is the problem of this? Number one, Sunana, during the day you see a lot of things, you hear a lot of things. All these things are pushed into your permanent memory when you're sleeping. Okay, that's how you remember
the short
stuff.
and long term.
From the short term to the long term. So if you don't really sleep, okay, your melatonin plays havoc and you don't sleep, you'll end up forgetting a lot of things. Okay, that is one. Your stress levels go up, you know, it doesn't come down. So sometimes you say, oh, I had a refreshing sleep and I'm okay. But now a lot of people tell us that I sleep but I still feel tired. You end up waking more tired. People sometimes say, I feel as if somebody has been sitting on me, you know, because you feel all crammed up, and could be because of this. Another major issue that you have is they have found a direct link between melatonin levels and breast cancer in women.
Really?
And you now know that the breast cancer cases are increasing. I'm not predicting, I'm not a medical doctor, but I feel that one day you'll directly link this, the backlit display, the exposure to backlit displays, and probably Alzheimer's and even Parkinson's, because the effect that it has on you is profound. So don't hate us for this, all of you who fall asleep with the phones in their hands. You know, a lot of people say, oh, the phone fell off, you know, because I was watching it.
Fell on my face.
Exactly. Please keep it away. You shouldn't be accessing your backlit displays for more than an hour a day. That's what they say. And definitely don't do it before going to sleep, because when lights are off and when you access it, you're really confusing your brain, and your melatonin levels will get reduced, and your sleep will be very light, which will have a lot of issues. We'll probably have time to speak only about a couple more issues. The list is long. What I want to talk about is a very sensitive topic, okay, on social media. A lot of parents might not be aware of this, but the kind of hatred that is going around on social media now, political issues, communal issues, regional issues. Previously, the hatred used to be within our hearts. It's unfortunate, yeah. I'm not saying that we were hatred free, but it was hidden inside. Very few people would be available on media. So you had only a few people, okay, there on national TV or on newspapers or standing on pulpits and speaking. And those people were very guarded. They used to be very careful in speaking. Now it's all out.
Everyone is vocal about what they hate.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. Now something happens nationally or internationally, everyone is tempted to comment.
Yeah.
Now what happens is there are certain racial groups, there are certain genders, there are certain religions who get constantly trolled on social media. So now just imagine your young child, okay, who doesn't really know about the kind of hatred that's existing outside, doesn't know the kind of fingers that are being pointed at his or her community. He gets into social media, in a day or two, the impact that this vicious atmosphere of hatred that is there in our digital space has on him when it hits him is profound. You know, it's like exposing a young flower to a lot of smoke and hot air and a lot of thorns. I think we are creating irreparable damage to our children by exposing them on social media. Now, my advice would be twofold. One is, dear parents, please stop expressing your hatred. Okay, nobody is perfect, be it a political party, be it a religion, be it a nationality. Nobody is perfect. But what we should try to do is try to project the positive aspects of each other as much as possible.
At least for your kids' sake.
Exactly.
Right?
If you find a story of communal animosity, you know, don't talk about it on social media. Okay. But if you find a story on where two communities came together and worked together for common good, for the betterment of our country, for our society, talk about it. because somewhere youngsters are getting influenced by what you say and what you comment, and this influence is in a negative manner. So let us not pass the exactly the embers of hatred on to our next generation. So just for this particular cause, parents, if we can keep our children away from social media, I would definitely say that it would be worth it. And we have always talked about it, the more you hate, the less opportunities you have to succeed, because in today's world you can succeed only by holding hands with diverse groups. You have to embrace diversity. When you get ideas from people who are different from you, that is when you really succeed in life. So haven't you felt that the kind of hatred is really unnerving nowadays?
Absolutely. But I was just thinking, would it be like treating your kids with kid gloves by not exposing them to what's happening around?
Sunana, I'm sure at home, suppose it happens to us, we are discussing about that uncle or that auntie or something that happened at home. Don't look at me as if you have never discussed. And when our kids walk in, what do we usually say? We say, guys, keep quiet. In case they hear and they come and ask, hey, Upa Uma, what are you talking about? You say it's adult talk, right? Now, this happens in the real world. We do not expose our children in the physical world to these kind of conversations. But do we have a filter like that in the virtual world? No, we do not. And the other day,
they're there in the open.
They're there in the
reading
open.
everything that's being posted.
So suppose your child is just beginning to be spiritual, is beginning to connect to a particular stream of thought or religion, and then he opens a Facebook page and he finds a lot of animosity happening against that particular religion. The child feels alienated. And these impressions that he gets in his young mind could make him a hater all his life, could make him a terrorist all his life. So I think we need to shield our children away from that. When I talked about this, people said, no, what is true must be reported. When I told them, don't talk about negative stuff. But there's something called a psychological study called social proof. When you talk more about a negative thing, it tends to happen more. I'm sure you would have noticed when we talk about the rape cases that are happening, rape cases increase because people think, everybody is doing it. I'm not talking about censoring, but we need to be responsible in what we talk on social media and what we expose our children to. Before we leave, one small thing. If you think your kids are purchasing a lot of things, if you think your kids are becoming more materialistic, saying that I want this, I want that, you could blame that to social media as well.
Yeah, online shopping portals.
Yeah, they do it very discreetly. Nowadays, you've got those hoverboards. I don't know what you call them. The kids, it's like those skateboards that automatically go. A lot of kids are demanding that parents buy those things for them. Extremely risky. Recently, a child was run over by a car. All the malls are actually confiscating it. What happens is the child might go to Google and might search for this. Now Google registers that this particular kid has searched for it. Now whether he's on Facebook or whether he's on any other social media, because it's all connected, he'll find ads popping up about this. So in a way, he's being forced to keep looking at this particular device, keep lusting, if I may use that word, at this device until he forces his parents to get that. So social media is also influencing our purchasing patterns, and that too in a negative manner. Yeah, so this is what I have for the time being.
All right. Shall we take a quick look at a summary video of what we discussed today?
Sure. A quick look at all the points that we discussed today about the ill effects of social media.
Welcome back. So that was the ill effects of social media in our children's lives. Now, next episode we would be discussing about the positive sides of social media. Quite a lot to cover in that case, and the strategies parents can adopt to help their children get the best out of social media. So as doctor said, banning is not a practical solution, never in none of the cases. What we need to do is take control over how social media influences our children. So we need to decide, we need to help our children decide. On that note, this is Sunaina Iqbal signing off for the day. Have a great week ahead.
I think what you've done is you've demonized social media to such an extent, you know, it's all black and sooty with horns and
Yeah,
stuff
true.
like that. Yeah, definitely parents have to take heed. It can create a lot of adverse effects. But what we're going to do for you next time is to balance the equation. We're going to look at the positive effects of social media, a lot of positive effects as well.
True.
And together we'll look at the strategies that you parents can use to minimize the negative effects, to maximize the positive effects, and to prepare our children for the future. So this is Sangeet Ibrahim signing off. It's been a pleasure to be back with the NTV family after a long time, and we look forward to being with you from now on. Thanks to Jitesh and Chanchal in the studio. So looking forward to meeting you again in the subsequent
Have a
weeks.
great week ahead.
Have a great week ahead.